Okay, welcome back. So, in the previous episode, we defeated the Magi Master and we got the Soul of Thamasa. So, what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be finishing up a little bit of cleanup, and then we're going to be um, starting the final area of the game. Now, we're starting this off by fighting I think it's the Brachiosaurus, and this guy is probably the toughest enemy in the game. Definitely the toughest mook, for sure. Let's see here. What? One, he has a lot of health. Brachiosaur. So, I'm going to be breaking the game here by using the Celestiad, Quick, and the Soul of Thamasa to essentially spam Ultima a bunch of times. And without doing that, this fight can be very, very difficult. His only real weakness is ice, so if you aren't using the Celestiad, ice magic is also a good alternative to using Ultima. Otherwise, Flare works as well, pretty well, and there you go. And he's down. Gives 10 AP, and he does have a chance of dropping the Celestiad. Alright, so we are fighting this. I just wanted to get this one blue magic for Strago while we were here. You can also get this in Kefka's tower pretty easily, but this is where I would normally go because Malboros are fairly easy. One of the strategies to getting Strago's blue magics is to actually have Realm use Sketch. And oftentimes that if an enemy has a blue magic, like Bad Breath for the Malboro, it will use that when Realm uses Sketch. And that will guarantee that Strago learns it. So... yeah. Back to the Brachiosaur. He's extremely dangerous. He has he uses Meteor a lot. But it is worth fighting him. There is a small chance of finding a Celestiad if you want to try and grind that up. So what I just showed off there, and unfortunately, I don't think the game really tells you when this happens for some reason. So remember we got the Curse Shield in the in Narsh. When you fight 256 battles with it equipped, the curse will break, and you will get the best shield in the game, the Paladin Shield. Alright. So there's a few things that I kind of want from the from the Colosseum. So one of these, I believe, was the Cat Ear Hood. Now I gave Setzer the Snow Scarf. The Snow Scarf is an extremely powerful, or extremely amazing armor that Mog or I believe Gao can wear. There's the Cat Ear Hood. I believe you bet an Impartisan to get that. I think that's what it is. And one of the other things that we're going to be doing here is we're going to be collecting the imp armor. These sprinters, the little bird things on the left side, can drop them or be stolen from them. No, I think dropped, actually. So we're going to be collecting a few of those, and that makes any imp wearing them like a tank. As well as they can take water damage, which is not quite as important, but beside the point. So back to the Paladin Shield. After you've fought in 256 battles, the Paladin Shield, the Curse Shield the curse will break off of the Curse Shield, and it will become the Paladin Shield. It's the best shield in the game. It's very tedious, and unless you really want it, you don't necessarily need it. Okay, those basilisks, the lizard things, one of the imp armor can be stolen from them, so that's what we did there. My recommendation for if you want the Paladin Shield is to go to the Solitary Island and just grind there. It's boring, but it's far easier to do that than to go fighting like actual battles. And that way you're not like over leveling. I mean, you can over level if you really want. It's not necessary. I think I've seen people like beat the game at like level 20 or level 30. I'm probably going to be a little higher level than most people, but just know that you don't necessarily need to. You don't need to grind up to level 99 or something to beat this game. 6 is, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's definitely on the easier side of Final Fantasy games, which does make it a reasonable starting point, especially for the 2D games. So these tumbleweeds can also have something stolen from them. One of the imp armors. And I think this is pretty much the last sort of cleanup thing that we're doing for this episode. I want to get all the imp armor because yeah, I have a feeling one of our gamblers is going to spend the rest of the game as an imp. Come on, tumbleweeds. I had a heck of a time trying to find these things. I found them around Doma, on the Doma Island. So check there if you're looking for the tumbleweeds. Come on. And naturally it died. So pretty much at this point I'm just keeping my party healed up and just kind of defending while I wait for Locke to finally steal something. There we go, the saucer, which is a shield. Alright, at this point we can go ahead and just finish this up. We don't need more than one saucer. So I think the only real thing that I'm not going to do to quote-unquote 100% the game is I don't think I'm going to be... I'm not going to get all of Gao's rages. That's... It's just not necessary. you find a couple of rages that you like, that you know that are useful, and you just use those. Don't, unless you really want to. And I mean, honestly, what do you have to prove? There's no reason to go for all of Gao's rages. Okay. Alright, so now that we feel mostly prepared, you just go over to Kefka's tower, and there'll be a descend arrow. And that'll automatically take you into this cutscene as you prepare yourselves. So, if they defeat the Warring Triad, what will happen to magic? It's a good question. Since the Warring Triad is the source of all magic. Magic, espers, they all stem from the Warring Triads, so you will notice that several of those cutscenes will kind of primarily revolve around Edgar, Celeste, and Setzer. And that's because those are the three characters that you do need to finish the game. Everyone else is technically optional. You don't need to do that. You don't need every character to beat the game. You need one. You need all three of them so that you can fill the party. Well, so you can have 3 parties. So this is what I'm going to go with. So party 1, party 2, and party 3. They all get split up. Alright, so I go through here a few times. There's a few reasons why I kind of leave and come back later. But for right now, and I'm sorry if this becomes a bit chaotic with the editing, just because I try and keep it as consistent as possible, but sometimes I need to jump around depending upon what I'm doing and what I'm trying to do. So we're gonna start off with party 1. Currently, our party is Terra, Edgar, Sabin, and Mog. Mog is going to be a Dragoon for this. Hardly ever use any of his dances, but I'm pretty sure we have all of them. Again, if you're playing this version, if you want to get Mog's underwater dance, you have to do it in the World of Balance. Unfortunately, they took out the advanced exclusives for Final Fantasy VI, so there's no way to get that dance in the World of Ruin. Alright, so this Vector Lifos, I believe that's the name. Yes. There's actually 4 of them, and they all stack on top of each other. I believe we've seen something kind of like this earlier in the game. Excellent. Sorry. I'll be honest, it's been a little while since I had picked up the game, so I wasn't entirely sure what we needed to do. Alright. Okay, so this battle, Great Marlborough, a Vector Lifos, and a Great Behemoth. Now, here's the key to this fight. don't leave the Great Behemoth by itself. And if you do, cast Stop on it as often as you can. The reason being is because if it's alone, it becomes so much more dangerous. Leave it will start casting Meteor, and that's never a good time. Using Air Anchor on the Great Malboro will help a lot, because it likes to attack and it ends up killing itself by doing that. So at this point, just hit it as hard as you can and just keep it stopped. And again, I'm cutting out extra battles. Like this is going to be the only time that I show off this battle, because we don't really need to see me fight these same formations 20 times, as I'm just trying to make my way through the dungeon. Okay, we just got the best weapon for Setzer. Now, we all like to laugh that Setzer, get a real weapon. Why are you fighting with dice? No, fixed dice is actually one of the best weapons in the game. Not gonna lie, like, it's an especially powerful weapon with the correct tools. Sorry, I'm trying to. Oh, what are they called? Sorry about that. Relics. Relics are what they're called. I was blanking for a second, and I didn't want to let the video go on until I figured that out. Alright. I forget what the... I think primeval dragons are just weak to lightning, so just hit them hard. Apparently the Malboros are not, though. And they killed Sabin. Roof. Very rude. No, Mog's not supposed to be the imp. Setzer is. Alright, so now we're going to switch over to our second team. Second team is headed up by Celeste. Then we have Locke. We have an imp, Setzer, and we have Cyan. Yeah. So here's the thing. So normally, no, you wouldn't get 4 attacks with the fixed dice. I have the Master Scroll, or oh, I can't remember what the name of it is in the SNES version. But it's the thing that we got in the underground castle. The offer. That's the name. Okay, nice. We got another Minerva bustier. That's pretty handy. Got a pinwheel, which I believe is essentially a very large shuriken, and it does quite a bit of damage. I don't think we're going to be using it, though. There's only a few of them. But yeah, the Master Scroll, or the offering for the SNES version, makes the fixed dice an amazing weapon. Like, one fixed dice is okay. I mean, as you saw, the damage is often at least 1,000. Sometimes it's only triple digits, but with the Master Scroll, with if you give Setzer the Master Scroll, that makes him so powerful. Like 4 of those in one in a row is pretty awesome. Alright, so this is Ultima Buster. Pretty similar to Ultima Weapon. I'm trying to remember what is... I'm going to be kind of looking these up as I go because I don't remember offhand what I end up doing for some of these battles. So he's not immune to anything specific. I think you can actually cast Berserk on him. Let's say, is that correct? I don't want to give you guys bad information. Doesn't look like he's immune to it, so I think there's some. Maybe we just hit him hard. I guess that's what we're. I guess that's just what we're gonna do. If you have any ice equipment, ice shields definitely help. Get some fixed dice. Yeah, unfortunately we do get like a low 600 and then follow it up with the 9,999. It's pretty good. Unfortunately, that's the one thing that I really like with some of these like late game spells and super hard hitting attacks is it often never does anything to the bosses. Like these instant death attacks, most bosses are immune to those. Now, some optional bosses, like in Final Fantasy V, I know there are a few bosses out there that, with the right sort of setup, they can basically be insta-wiped. But yeah, that's the disappointing thing with like instant death attacks is it's really only good against regular mooks. And even then, like some of the better ones aren't affected at all. Or immune to those. So at least get a save point. Alright. So there is one enemy in this area that if you want to get all of Strago's blue magic, in Kefka's tower, this is probably the best. This is a room that you have to do it in. We will be getting that later. That's one of the reasons why I had to kind of do this area a few different times. Bang. So, Mudsud, weak the holy. Yeah. Annoyingly, though, he can freeze your party, and that is not fun. Oof. Alright. I don't think we're going to be seeing those enemies that I was talking about. So I believe they're only in that room. Like, okay. Don't go this way. This leads you back out. Also, you have to fight junk. And I don't think these are the really dangerous ones. But they do know self-destruct. Transfusion. They can teach you a couple of Strago's blue magics, which is pretty handy. Alright, so I just cut out that bit so that we're not wasting too much time backtracking and running around, because there's already going to be a lot of that. That basically takes you back up to the room with the chest in it. That I was trying to figure out how to get to that doorway. Nice. again, fixed dice, I know sounds ridiculous as a weapon, but they are amazing. One of the... I'm trying to remember, because I watched, like, basically all of these. What are they called? They were essentially parodies, like animated parodies of all the Final Fantasy games. Um, yes. Final Fantasy in a nutshell. All very good, especially if you enjoy these games. Highly recommend checking that out. I believe it's Rab Tunes. But yeah, one of the jokes was Setzer. They would all show off their like super amazing attack. It's, super amazing attacks, and then Setzer just throws his dice, and they're like, Setzer, go sit on the bench. Alright, so this is the Gold Dragon. Now, the Gold Dragon is considered to be one of the easiest, probably the next easiest after the Holy Dragon. He has thunder magic, so if you have any like thunder shields, this guy won't hurt you. I think you can also cast Berserk on him. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do, and that nullifies any of his magic-based attacks. And yeah, at this point, just keep your people healed and lay on the damage. If you have Strago in your party for some water-based magic, that's also good, because that is the Gold Dragon's weakness, but it's not necessary if you don't. Just keep hitting it with high damage, and you'll be fine. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And, yep. Gold Dragon goes down easily. Alright. So there's one dragon left. Now, the last two dragons are in Kefka's tower. They kind of serve as sort of mini-bosses for the dungeon itself, which, I don't know, I feel like it probably would have just been better to have them as their own sort of separate thing, but whatever. And that way you don't have to go into the dungeon to fight them. Red Cap, it's essentially the upgraded version of the Green Beret. So if you have someone who has a Green Beret on, give them the Red Cap, and beneficial. Alright, these things can be very dangerous. Be careful with them. That Brain Blast is not great. I think one time one of my characters got hit with it, and then they just insta kill somebody else. My guess is they had a weapon on them that had insta kill an insta kill feature on it. But yeah, Thundaga will work pretty well. As I did state in one of the previous episodes, whichever episode we got the Celestiad, I was not going to be using it for the entire game, specifically for this dungeon. Now, that being said, I did use it when grinding up Strago's blue magic. That's the only reason why I would use it, just because it just made things easier. And you'll understand why once we get to that point. Okay. Oh, Gamma. So I'm pretty sure this guy is supposed to be like a reference to an enemy in Final Fantasy V that was named Omega. Omega was an extremely tough optional final boss. Not final boss. Optional super boss in the late game. I haven't actually gotten to that point in Final Fantasy V. I can't remember where I stopped, but I was just about to fight Bahamut to get him as a summon, and then he kicked my ass. I then focused on Final Fantasy VI because the 6-pixel remaster came out, and I wanted to do this game. I wanted to do this version of the game for the second half. So I kind of focused on that for a while until we kind of kept hitting hiatus after hiatus and didn't really get a chance to finish this until like this past week. So yeah. And now I'm currently playing a little bit of Final Fantasy II because have you ever like started a game like that and you take a pause and then you try and come back but you just can't. That happens to me a lot with like Zelda games. I know I'm like right before Ganon's Tower in Ocarina of Time, and I haven't touched the game in like 4 or 5 years at this point. I don't know why I haven't just finished it, but I need to at some point, obviously. I need to finish the game, because eventually we are going to do that for this channel, or I plan on doing that for this channel. But obviously, and then I've been playing Minish Cap, and I feel like I almost soft-locked myself in the final dungeon. I don't know if that's possible, but I was just not finding a new key to move forward, and I had used the key that I did have on probably an unintended door. So I don't know. We'll see. I do want to. I think the next Zelda game we're going to be doing for this channel is going to be Minish Cap. And that the reason being is if you probably haven't watched the Skyward Sword Let's Play, but the reason is because I am going in order of the Zelda timeline rather than by release date, which is what I like to do with some of my other series, like Mario, Castlevania, Tomb Raider. I plan on doing those in order of release date, at least to some degree. Obviously, I think Mario 2 Lost Levels came out before Mario 2 USA, but that's kind of a weirder thing. But I intend to do Mario 3 next before I go to Mario World, which I never played because I never owned the game. Alright, so this is Inferno. He has 2 arms. Don't attack them. That's pointless. They just grow back. Unfortunately, they keep... For whatever reason, I apparently aimed at the one arm rather than the guy itself. Since, for whatever reason, they put him at the very end instead of the very beginning, where they should put him. Thankfully, he doesn't do a huge amount of damage. But that's not going to stop Shadow from taking a dirt nap. We're not at that point, Shadow. Hold your horses. Yeah. Pretty low damage, all things considered. But yeah, don't attack the arms. They grow back if you destroy them, so it's just kind of pointless. Just focus on Inferno himself, or itself. And both of our non-mages are down. Alright. This isn't the most exciting battle, just because you're kind of just spamming Thunder and Thundaga a bunch. And if you have enough magic defense, his Gigavolt does hardly anything. But eventually you'll finish him off. Not too he's really not that difficult. Alright. Okay. Let's go ahead and head on to the next room. So, Mega Elixir. Okay. I really do appreciate the map feature. In this game, it's not quite as big of a deal, but in like some of the earlier games, the dungeon layouts are not great. For example, Final Fantasy II is not exactly known for its straightforward dungeon design. There are often a lot of winding paths that lead to nowhere and have no chests at the end, so they're completely pointless. And it's also very well known to have random rooms that have nothing in them except high encounter rates with dangerous enemies. So, yeah. Unfortunately, the map doesn't really help with that part, but it at least helps with the meandering hallways. So this is the final dragon, Skull Dragon. Again, a pretty easy dragon. At this point, you're pretty, like, decked out. Fortunately, we don't really have any scrolls, so... Shadow's actually more of a liability in this fight. Because his sword, Ichigeki, I think... I'm probably saying that wrong, but that can automatically dispatch an enemy. But when the enemy's already undead, that doesn't really help. Holy and fire magic work very well, as they usually do on undead enemies. So, yeah. Skull Dragons, again, really not that difficult of a fight at this point. Especially if you've leaned very heavy into the magic like how I have. Because I just like magic. Learn Doom. Yes, that is one of Strago's blue magics that you can learn from the Skull Dragon. All 8 dragons have been defeated. The Eightfold Seal has been broken. And we receive the Crusader Magicite. So at this point, if you're playing the old Steam version, which you can't buy now anymore, or the advanced version, you can actually go to the Dragon's Den, which is an optional dungeon where you refight all of the dragons again. And they're a bit tougher, and then you fight a final boss, I believe named Crusader, and you can get another Magicite from that. But yeah, that's the final Magicite for the base game. And as you can probably guess, I'm going to be leaving the dungeon so that I can get my mages all of the spells. So, teleport out of here, and that will be it for this episode of Final Fantasy VI. So, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.